Okay, it was already saying April 6th through the 10th. This assignment, what's going on in this picture, is just something that is going to go throughout the week, where you're going to say what you think is happening in the picture and then aim to comment on somebody else's comment. So we kind of talked about that on Monday and looked at the picture already. You can click the link. It's going to the New York Times blog. You're going to look at the picture and do the who, what, when, where, why, how. This is what we're using for social studies and for science, just really the critical thinking aspect. Tomorrow they put up what the caption of the picture is, but they do it in the afternoon. So we're going to talk about what is actually happening and just see how close anyone was, or how knowing the context can help you filter everything that you're looking at visually. So we're going to look at it on Friday because they update their website after our class. So this is the time tracker, and hopefully this time it's going to work out, but this is really just so that you can monitor additional work that you do. So you can do it live and then just say that you're turning it in at the end, and hopefully this one will work. I'm still checking your Khan Academy and your Aztec, but this is especially for extra time that it takes you. So I'm trying to round up when I write the assignments that it's going to be enough for the day. But if something takes you longer, or for example, if you don't need something, then you're going to have to supplement your time. So if you're just saying, I just need math, like a couple of people do, then of course you're going to participate in the discussion. But if I put something up that's additional reading, or if we do an essay or something like that, then you're going to have to put on the time tracker that you just did all 3 hours or as many hours as you did in the different categories of math. So then that would be, how much time did you spend on Aztec? How much time did you spend on Khan Academy? How much time did you spend on Math is Fun? And then if you do anything else, like drawing out your index cards or working on your multiplication skills, those are still very important. You're putting that as other to be able to say that you're just studying. And we're doing this in decimals. So if you feel like we're doing quarters of the hour. So if you do 15 minutes of multiplication study, you're just saying 0.25. So it's already set to sum whatever you put in the column, but only if you use only numbers. So you want to put 1 hour. If you do an hour and a half, like I'm saying here, you're going to do the 1.5. If you do a half hour, of course, it's 0.5. So you're aiming to work in these quarter-hour increments just to make it easy for you to calculate. And what we were saying is if you do 13 minutes, it's 15 minutes. So some people are, I can see what you're doing exactly on Aztec and on Khan Academy. If you do 13 minutes, it's rounded up to 15 minutes. So just as in class, you can take 10-minute break. It's not, it's trying to be as close to the 3 hours as you can. So what I suggested was that we do Aztec first because it's an intro and everybody's working at their own pace on that. Then yesterday we did just the introduction. We did it on Math is Fun, but the suggestion for the day was to look at Khan Academy. So I reworded those: radius, diameter, pi, circumference, and then this one, parts of the circle, so that you can draw out your index card with what he's drawing on the screen. And then the radius and the diameter practice. So for today, another Khan Academy video, but then this is the page that I'm about to pull up, which is just some word problems. So if you want to pull this up for yourself, you can afterwards. We're just going to go over a few of the questions, and then we're going to say we're going to look at the rest of the answers for tomorrow. So this is the sheet. These are, again, really foundational. We're going to do some more challenging ones by Friday. And then we are going to do some of the combination or composite shapes. So ending with the circle formula means that we've done the majority of the two-dimensional shapes. So now what we're going to do is work on a couple of word problems that combine the shapes, and then we're going to move on to the three-dimensional. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger so that you can read it on the screen. And then
can read it.
I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. So let me just say, let me make it smaller again. Okay, so this is the page. It says area and circumference of a circle, and it's a matching worksheet. So this way you have the answers again listed here. So what you would do in this worksheet is you're going to do the word problem, and then you would write the letter right here. So you're saying number 1 is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So this is a way for you to make sure that you did come out to the right answer. So that's why I'm saying these are the simpler ones where you're looking at the answer somewhere, but it's alternating between the area formula and the circumference formula. So I'm going to blow it up so that it can be bigger for us, because I know you're reading it on whatever screen you're looking at, which could be a tablet or a cell phone. But then I'm going to give you a minute to figure out the answer. When you're looking at it for yourself, though, you're going to be able to see the whole page and all of the answers.
Okay.
So number 1. Well, let's go over the directions too, right? So this is also saying match the word problems to their answers, write the letter of the answer that matches the problem. And now it's telling you to use 3.14 for pi. Unit of measurements are removed. So that means you don't have to say square meters. So like this first question says, Patricia buys a round dinner table. So this is how you know you're working with a circle, right? So the word round and dinner table, that's supposed to help you imagine it. The radius of the dinner table is 6 meters. So now you know, you should be thinking from yesterday, what is radius? That is just from the center to the outside rim of the circle. So let me flip back to here. On Math is Fun, yesterday we looked at the picture of the circle, and this is what you're drawing from Khan Academy's description or from Math is Fun. You're looking to get all of your circle vocabulary. So this is a better one. They had radius, they had diameter, they had circumference, and then they had pi. So this worksheet is telling you to use just the 3.14 for pi. Sometimes, like we said, you're going to use the pi symbol on the calculator, or you might even use the fraction. When you do the Math is Fun quiz, they're suggesting that you use the fraction a couple of times. If you notice, it's normally when there's a multiple of 7. So the fraction is 22 over 7. Since I'm saying that, where is it? Somewhere. Oh, I actually think that that's on the pi one. So we looked at both of these yesterday. Okay, here it is. So this is an approximation, of course, but they're saying that an easy approximation is 22 over 7. If it's easier to do a multiple of 7 and work on your multiplication of fractions, that's when this would come in handy. So there's a couple of times on the Math is Fun quiz that they're asking you to use 22 over 7, just so that you can practice that style of finding circumference or area or radius or diameter, whatever the question is that they're asking you. So here, they're telling you to use 3.14. I heard Gladdy say the answer.
Is that right?
Was it Gladdy?
Yes.
I thought I recognized your voice. Did everybody get the right answer?
Do I have to, what square root? Do I do square root? I like my answer. Do I do your answer?
You are going to follow based on the question, you're going to pick out the formula. So this question says, what is the area of, and it should say the table? It says, what is the area of table? But that's a typo, obviously, right? So when you are looking at the questions, that's how you're going to alternate between the circumference formula and the area formula. So circumference formula is what we were looking at. It's what they introduced first. Circumference equals diameter, pi times the diameter, this one. So this is the one that I said was pretty simple. All you need is pi times the diameter. And they're already telling you 3.14 times the diameter. But because this question was about area, you're using Is that a million? A million? Thank you. Because area is not that funny, right? If you're using area, you want to do pi r squared. So this is the formula you want to use, Kaven.
Yeah,
And
ma'am.
then you want to substitute the information. So you're always starting with the formula first. And then you're going to say, they're telling you the radius is 6. So you're just going to replace r with 6.
Okay.
So if I'm looking at my calculator, I can say, you already know, now this is why you're working on the multiplication. Because sometimes if you get an easier question, like this sheet is the foundational questions, they're telling you it's no decimal, right? It's not a large number. It's telling you that the radius of the dinner table is 6 meters. So 6 is still on the regular 12 by 12 multiplication table. So this is why we're still practicing multiplication if you haven't made it through to 12 times 12, because you can start with 6 times 6 in your head, right? This is how you start to do it faster. But if you're not doing it like that, you're saying 6, oops, squared times 3.14 for pi. So this would be pi and then the r squared. So it's 113.04, which was B, we could say. So now you don't have to say the letter because I did blow it up. You can just say the number in case it, the letters are all blocked. The answers are blocked for you by me blowing up the screen. But this would be the correct answer. So did everybody get that one? 113.04, or I should say, did someone not get that answer?
No, I don't have that answer.
So you don't have that one, Zoila?
Get that answer.
So now this is what you want to do. Like when you're doing this one, you're trying to sort the information from the word problem. To say to yourself, do I need the circumference formula or do I need the area formula? And we're going back to what we learned about the word problem is really you're going to read the word problem once, but then you're definitely focusing on the question. When you look at the question, you're going back to the word problem to see what information you need. So this one says, what is the area of the table? And what we're saying that we're looking at is this formula. Area equals pi times the radius squared. So all you have to do is, you already know pi on the worksheet is going to be 3.14. So you need to figure out what is the radius and then what is the radius squared.
Okay.
So it's more like this one, pi r squared, and then you start doing your regular algebra, replace the r. In this case, we're replacing the r with a 6. Now, what I'm saying is if you already know the multiplication table, right, you're just going to start out with 36 times 3.14 because you already know what 6 times 6 is.
Oh my God, I did.
So is that making sense, Zoila?
Yep.
So if you can figure out what the square is, this is where we're saying sometimes you're going to have half mental math as much as you can, and then use the calculator. And even for some of the questions on Math is Fun, it was asking you what is an estimate when you looked at pi. If you're saying to yourself, I have 36 as 6 times 6, I need to triple that almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is also how, if you don't have a calculator, but your test is multiple choice, you know that 30, 30, 30, right? You're looking for a number that is in the low 100s. If you say I'm tripling 36, because what you're gonna do is, you already knew the 6 times 6 was 36, and now you know that you're gonna multiply it by pi, and pi is 3.14. So if you ignore the 0.14, and you just say, what is 36 times 3? You know that out of multiple choice, you should be able to come down to just a couple of answers that are in the low 100s. So your test is not like this one where you're just picking out one right answer. You're gonna have a choice for each question. Well, the majority of questions are multiple choice, except for maybe one or two that are open-ended on the math section. So you're just trying to think of, what am I actually doing? I need the radius squared, which I might already know, 6 times 6 is 36. Then I'm multiplying that times pi. And they're telling me to use 3.14 for pi, so I'm basically tripling 36.
Okay.
Right.
So that was number one, asking about the area. Let's take a look at number two. It says, Charles has a circular carpet in his drawing room. He wants to put a circular table in the middle of the carpet. The diameter of the carpet is 12 meters, and the diameter of the table is 4 meters. Calculate how much area of the carpet is left after putting the table in place. So this is one of the ones we were talking about yesterday, where
Double circle.
it's going to create a circle on top of a circle. So let me see if I can find one of those yesterday. Where I was saying maybe it looks like a dartboard or a bullseye, like this, right? So what he's saying is he has a carpet laid down that has a 12
meters.
12 meter diameter is the carpet, and then on top of that, he's trying to put the table that has a 4 meter diameter. So what you're imagining is something like this, right? The carpet is bigger than the table. And what they're asking is how much area is left over. So
12 minus 4, probably.
what you're going to do is you are going to do the difference. So let me flip back over to that one. And just take 2 minutes and try to work on that one, and then we'll go over the answer.
Letter E. Well done. We found the letter E.
Oh man.
Big dog.
All right, so you can look at this one in multiple ways. So you already know one of the measurements, because you already know the 6 meters we just did. So what this one is saying is, it's saying the diameter of the carpet is 12 meters, but in order to use that area formula, you actually need the radius. You don't need the diameter. So that means you're back up to the same thing you just did for number one, right? You really need to say that the radius is 6 if the diameter is 12.
Right.
So there's multiple ways to look at this one. Because that's standing out for me that I just did that area.
I got it. I got it.
I could just subtract the area of the table now. Excuse me, because I already know the area of the carpet. So the area of the table would have just been 2 times, I'm sorry, 2 as the radius times itself would be 4 times pi.
All right. 50, 24.
Let's see, where's the calculator?
No. 56.
I got D.
I think so. 43.
Right on.
43.96.
Oops.
What 56?
I did 12. Take away 4.
43.96.
148 meters.
100.48.
Oh,
So what I said was I just noticed by coincidence that we already knew the area of the carpet. So all I did was just subtract the area of the table. But there are multiple ways to think about doing the problem. So I already had this number in my head, the 113.04. When I read this one that says the radius of a dinner table is 6 meters, what is the area of the table? We got this answer. So when I see this one, the diameter of the carpet is 12 meters, that means the radius is coming back to 6 meters. So now I already know that this is the area of the carpet. So what I'm really trying to do, like I think Zoila said, is find the difference between the area of the carpet and the area of the table to see what is left over when I put the table on top. So all I really did was calculate the area of the table, which is 4 times pi. So I did 12.56 minus the number that I already knew, which was 113.04. So
that is the answer?
yes, so the answer is F. If you're looking at the worksheet blown up. Does anybody have a question about this one?
Okay, number 2, you said is F.
Yes.
I didn't get that. Got that wrong.
So what did you do, Gladys?
Well, I took it as a radius. I took it at the radius and I timed it. I got times it. First I did the 12 and took away the 4. Then I got the 8. I times it by 2. And then I times it by the pi. But I got 50/24.
But I don't get it. Why 100?
Well, you want to figure out the 2 areas and subtract them.
I did 12, take away 4.
So you're not really focused on 12 take away 4 because those are 2 diameters.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You need to focus on the radius because you're going to do the area formula.
Okay. All right, let me see, times 3 and 4.
So let's see.
Yes, 148. I got that.
Okay, good.
I got it.
So let's see, who said now that they didn't get it? Josette?
Yeah.
So this is a Now, these are, again, like the words that you need to know are, of course, circumference and area, but then you need to know radius and diameter. So when it's telling you in this problem, the diameter of the carpet is 12 meters, but then the question is about area, you don't need the number 12. You actually need to think about the number 6.
6. Mhm.
Which I was saying, we just did that in number 1. So that was just fresh in my mind that I already knew the area of the carpet. So then the second part of the word problem that you need to know is the diameter or the area of the table. So for me, my approach was just to figure out the area of the table and do the subtraction because I already knew the area of the carpet just by coincidence in this problem, right? So if it says the diameter of the table is 4 meters, but it's asking me about area, I don't need the number 4, I need the number 2, because in the formula, I always need to be thinking about the radius. If the diameter is 4 meters, then the radius is only 2 meters.
Okay.
So now I'm saying, again, by coincidence, because this only happens, I think, with the number 2, when you say 2 times 2, you're actually back up to the number 4. So when you square that radius, you are coming back to the number 4, but that's a coincidence again, because it only happens with the number 2. So in this case, you are thinking about the number 4 times pi. But then what you end up having is you have 2 areas. You have 113.04 and then the 12 point, I forgot what it was. Let me see.
Okay.
456.
12.56, thank you. So those are the 2 areas, right? So now that you know that, you're focused on the question again, calculate how much area of the carpet is left after putting the table in place. That how much is left is what I think Zoila said. You know you're going to end up doing subtraction or finding the difference between 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just using this idea from the Math is Fun. This is what you need to imagine, is that there's a carpet and then there's a table on top of the carpet. When they say how much is left over, it's this question. From the edge of the table to the edge of the carpet, how much area is left over?
Okay.
So that's how you should be getting, what did we say it was? F.
100.48.
Yes, 100.48. You're subtracting the area of the table from the area of the carpet. So is that making more sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that one, you know, you had to adjust because they're giving you the diameter, but they're still asking about area. So this is why vocabulary is the most important thing. And then having a good foundation of which formula do you need, but which formula you need is based on the question. So no matter what information they're giving you, you have to make sure that you're solving to answer the question. So if they start talking about diameter, you don't automatically use the circumference formula with diameter. You focus on the questions about area, so I need the area formula. So number 3 is about circumference. It says Stephen purchases a bowl. The diameter of the bowl is 14 centimeters. What is the circumference of the bowl? So now you need the formula that we skipped. And you can multiply the radius by 2. But I said for me, it's easier just to remember pi times the diameter. So pi d or d pi, that is the formula for circumference. So in this case, they're telling you the diameter, which is what you actually need in the formula. So you're going to use the number 14, right?
43.98, I think.
So 14 times pi.
It's 43.96.
And that looks like C.
I got 98. I don't know where that came
Oh,
from.
wait, well, am I picking out the wrong one then?
43.98 I got.
I got 43.96.
Maybe, did you use the pi button?
No, I don't even know how to use that.
Well, here on this Google calculator, this one is pi. If I do the 14 pi, I get 98. Because remember, pi is a lot more digits if you just use the button on the calculator. But the directions were saying use 3.14. So if I do 3.14 times the 14,
All right.
I get 0.96.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you use like 3.14159, if you start to use more numbers, it starts to go up a tiny little bit. So that's why you want to just see what your directions say. And if the directions say nothing, you're looking for the answer that's closest to whatever you get. So say your answer, your directions don't say anything and you use the pi button, you're going to pick out the number that's closest to what you have.
Okay.
So in that case, it's C, right? So for this problem, you didn't need to change anything. Now, if they told you the radius is 7, what is the circumference? That's when you have to double the radius so that you're actually still working with the diameter. So now for number 4, this is that example, right? Daniel wants to buy cookies for her friend, or I should say maybe Danielle wants to buy cookies for her friend. The radius of a cookie is 5 inches. What is the cookie's circumference?
That's 10. All right.
No, because it's the circumference.
So who thinks they have the answer for number 4?
Is it 31 inches?
Yes, right?
Yes.
Now this is another one that if you think about it, you don't need to use the calculator, right? So this is saying we're going to use the same formula we just used for number 3, which is diameter times pi. They're giving you the radius in the problem as 5. So when you double the radius to get the diameter, you're looking at 10, right? You're going to multiply 10 times 31.4 or times 3.14. All you're doing is moving the decimal to make it 31. So it's going to be G. Is everybody understanding that one?
Good enough.
Yes.
So did you say no, Josette?
Yeah, I said no.
Okay. So here you're saying you want the same formula again. Pi times the diameter. This is kind of what we did yesterday when we said that the diameter is 100 and you're going to multiply times pi. All you're really doing for 3.14 is moving for 2 decimal places. So if you know you're going to multiply 3.14 times 100, it's going to turn into 314 because you're just moving the decimal twice. This question was you're going to multiply 3.14 times 10. So you just have to move the decimal place once. But 10 is not in the problem, right? This is the number that you have to come up with because you're looking for the diameter. Only the radius is in the problem. So the radius is 5, but you don't need the number 5. You need doubling 5 because the diameter is twice the radius.
Okay.
That you're saying, okay, the radius of the cookie is 5, the diameter of the cookie must be 10. If the diameter is 10, I'm going to multiply times 3.14. All I have to do is move the decimal instead of it being here at 3.14, I'm moving it over 1 time because I'm multiplying by 10. So the answer is 31.4.
All right.
Just like this one, I'm going to multiply times 100. So the answer is 314. So this is just another example where you don't necessarily need the calculator. Now you can still use the calculator by any means, especially if it's available. And you can always use your scrap paper because they're going to give that to you. But what you want to do is think about what they're actually asking you, because every now and then they do use numbers like 36 or 8 or 12 that are in the 12 times 12 times table that you already have memorized for squaring. So even if you just review what is, 2 times 2, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 6 times 6, even if you just squaring, that comes in handy. And like we said when we were talking about squaring, you might even want to do some of the other ones, like what is 20 times 20 or 25 times 25. Some of the ones that are common that you see come up on your worksheets are because people have memorized them. So if you want to go to 13, 14, and 15, and then do 20 and 25, all it does is it helps you skip one step on your calculator.
All right.
So what I'm going to do is we're just going to do number 5, 6, and 7 as part of the assignment. So what I said was to do this second page, but we're still going to be working on this tomorrow. So let me shrink it down a little bit. So we have some of these that have the answers, right? Just to make sure that you're getting them right. We didn't do 5, 6, and 7, so we'll pick up with these tomorrow and see if you have a question about them. And then this second page is for tomorrow. So if you want to do the work ahead of class and then just talk about the answers, we could do that if you have time. So this one's got the Earth, has a diameter of 7,926.41 miles. What is the circumference of the Earth? Here's a pizza shop with 3 different sizes. What is the circumference of each size? What is the area of each size? So this is just practicing those 2 formulas again. And then the last one, a bicycle wheel has a diameter of 21 inches. What is the circumference of the wheel? And then what is the radius? So this is just another 3 questions, plus the 3 we didn't do today that we're gonna work on tomorrow. So does anybody have I see one question. Does anybody have a question? No?
Yes.
Is that a question, Jamie? You can always text me. Or if you are working on something and you want to ask me about the question as you're working on it, you can send me a picture, a text, as you're working on it, and I'll respond. So this counts as your hour, right? We're already at 43 minutes. If you do the quiz, you're going to an hour. If you work on the worksheet, that's even more time. So you're deciding if you want to do it now. I got a truck outside with my name on it. Or if you want to do it in the morning. It's just like a regular classroom, right?
What is the quiz? Because when I first came in, I couldn't hear anything that you were talking about.
I was saying, let me show you real quick one more time. I was saying that I reworded the assignments on Google. So if you've done them, they're not different. I just reworded them. So the quiz is coming from yesterday. Let me just share this real quick. So, classwork. This one, what I'm doing now, in case I think it would be better to keep track by the date, right? So in this section, the topic is the date for the week, because we're just going to work week by week. But then each assignment is going to have the date in front of it. So these 2 that don't have a date are for the whole week, like you tracking your time and putting your comment on what is going on in this picture. So you should click on that one, what is going on in the picture, and put something in there today. I'll probably send out a remind message for everybody else to put something in as well.
I think I did
Yes, I
that
do.
already.
Okay, perfect. So now if you did that, right, the ones without dates are for the whole week, but we have to put it in there before Thursday because that's when they're going to update it on the blog, on the New York Times blog. These right here, I'm saying this is a suggestion. On Monday, start out with Khan Academy and Aztec because everybody's working through Aztec at their own pace. So what I did with this one is instead of just saying work on Aztec, I put work on geometric measurement and modeling, right? Now, again, if you're on math only, because that's the only test you have left, you're working with us by doing geometric measurement and modeling. And then we are on geometric properties and operations. I'm trying to make it more specific. So now some people already did Pythagorean theorem because that was the first section, right? Other people, because you're only on math, you might be working on the pre-task section just to do positive and negative numbers. Now that's going to count on, excuse me, your class tracker. That's going to count as more Aztec time. But for the group that's staying together, I'm saying that we're working on geometric measurement and modeling. But of course, there's a lot more on Aztec. You could just be doing the math practice test, and that could have took you an hour, right? So you're doing your individual tracking, but then as an assignment, I'm saying this is the introduction to geometry. And then
Okay, I think I finished
Khan
all of
Academy,
those.
Khan Academy, Khan Academy. Today, the quiz is coming from Math is Fun. So it says do the circumference of a circle or area and circumference of a circle quiz. So when you click this link, you're going to go to the regular Math is Fun, do the 10 questions, and you're going to do the screenshot of your quiz results and upload that with your assignment.
I think I did all of those.
Which is perfect.
If nothing was added new, mine should all be done. Even though I failed them all, but it's done.
So we're going to talk about that. So I'm looking at whatever you get, right? I did already mention this, so you may have done it. And some people are going to do it right after we talk about it. Like, so you may have done it yesterday, right? Today is the worksheet. So now it's saying April 8th to do these two. What I was saying yesterday, the reason why I just put April 8th is to give people more time to go through Khan Academy and to go through Aztec. So because Math is Fun, with the shape, you're doing circumference and area right away. People might need more practice than that. So I said, just save the Math is Fun quiz, although we use that as our introduction for this Zoom class. Just save the quiz for one more day so that you have a little bit of time to work through the Khan Academy practice before you do the quiz. So again, everything's really due by Friday. I'm just making a suggestion to help people with your own schedules. And also in case you miss a class to really be able to say, like today, people who aren't on this class, we did the word problems from this worksheet. Then tomorrow, if they come onto the class and they're talking about it, they can really see, okay, the first couple of ones were from yesterday. And I have a reference for that this afternoon, even though I missed the class in the morning.
Okay.
So I am looking at your scores and I can offer extra help, kind of like we do in class if you want to do another worksheet or you want to do something like that. But I would say Khan Academy, I think, is really, really great. So even if you get something wrong and you redo it, a lot of times they do give you different questions. They're a little bit different than Math is Fun. It's just the same quiz no matter what. You're not getting any new questions. So if you don't get something right on Math is Fun, you're not going to get new questions. I would suggest doing Khan Academy again. I think that that's the most user-friendly. But also you could do Aztec again, where it's someone's, I also think the more senses, the better. That's why we're saying draw it. Always write the formula down as your first line, because the more senses you include, the better. That's why I think the things that are talking to you, like Khan Academy, are the best.
Okay.
So if you don't get something right, redo Khan Academy. And then, of course, send me a message, because I want you to, starting Friday, I'm saying that we've mastered two-dimensional shapes. So that as we combine a semicircle with a triangle and a semicircle with a rectangle, like we were mentioning yesterday, like a half court or a barn, or once you start to add the shapes together, that makes it more complicated, right? So that's how these formulas that might seem kind of easy will transfer to a high school test. Because now you're saying, oh, I have this, this is the shape of my garden, which you're gonna look at and say, oh, there's a semicircle on the left, and then the rest of it is all a rectangle. I need to use two formulas now to get the answer. So this is how,
I need to put my name and the date when I do the assignment.
When you
The
do,
assignment.
which one?
Yes.
So example, the page we was working today.
Your sound went out for a second.
I have to write my name. Let you know, just not do it or
no, you don't have to print that, and you don't have to write that, right? So
Okay.
we did the 5 questions in class. That counts for your work. We're gonna do the other questions in class tomorrow. So now what I'm saying is you can do them in advance, just to come to the class with answers, and then, or come to the class with questions, right? Like, I did not get this one right. And then that's what we can work out together.
All right.
For this worksheet, you don't have to really upload anything. We're just doing it live. I'm giving it to you as a reference, kind of like how we did the other one, in case you want to look at them more, or in case you missed the class.
Okay. All right.
Good.
All
I
right,
like
any
that.
other?
I like the practice that we did today, and then I have more picture of what we are supposed to do, because just that's gonna happen when we take the test. That's the way we're gonna have to figure out what to do, and
That's true.
That's helped me a lot.
I'm still trying to get the like our actual textbook. So things are slow. I'm gonna try to break into the college. So they're letting people go in sometimes. Like, you have to basically, I guess, maybe like go in bubble wrap one at a time. But I'm gonna try to just go in so that we can have the things like we used to have before, like really preparing for the test, right? Which is why we're still using Aztec, because you can eventually get to the practice test. And that's why we're all doing this, right? So we're putting a whole bunch of things together, but hopefully, as we come to the end, even if it's like next week, we'll be able to do the review with the task exercise book.
All right.
But I'll keep trying to find some worksheets so that you have variety. And then really, I think the best thing to do for geometry is really do those index cards and really imagine something when they're saying a round table, just like I'm working on circle. When they say right angled triangle, or they say sliding board, like any of the things that we talked about, you're like, okay, that's Pythagorean theorem. Like, really using your imagination for anything with a shape is important, because you have to have some type of visual understanding of what they're really asking you. So vocabulary and knowing the shapes, formulas, that's what you're really working on for this week.
Okay.
So just like that Khan Academy video from yesterday where he was drawing out, do that same thing for square, rectangle, trapezoid, triangle, right? Know the rules of the shape and the formula.
All right.
And on that note, hasta mañana.
Hasta mañana.
See you tomorrow. Talk to you tomorrow.
Have a great day.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, everyone.